started. Uh, Please tell us your name. If you're not comfortable using your real name, you can use an alias.
I'm Jessica Lasher from New York.
Hi, Jessica. Jessica and I are friends already, so I know a lot about her. So none of this is new to me, but you'll be quite interested about this conversation. Where are you from, and where do you live now?
I'm from upstate New York. I still live there. I like New York and everything, but for a liberal state, they still have a lot of regulations that are bullcrap.
True. Well, if you live in the city, New York City is about as liberal as it gets. So you're in upstate. Okay, what is your gender identity?
I identify as female. If anybody gets any deeper than that, I guess it would be trans female. But yeah, if anybody asks, are you male, female, trans?
No, I would just call you female. I wouldn't even say cis. You are a female. That's what you are.
Yeah. Exactly, and that's the thing. My wife was actually looking at an application the other day, and in the application, it says gender identity, and it says male, female, trans male or female, cis male or female. So it's like, whoa, how crazy are we getting in this? Why can't it just be male, female, or other? Or I prefer not to say.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think it becomes discriminatory. I mean, I don't know how do I apply it to society is the question that I don't know. That's the answer I don't have. What are your preferred pronouns?
But she, her, potato, anything but he, him.
Okay, all right. She's awesome, everybody. Get to know Jess. She's a really awesome girl. What is your so-called biological sex assigned at birth? Now, this is an interesting one because Jessica has a different story. So tell us about your biological sex.
So at birth, I was assigned male. On the outside of my body, it appears very, very masculine and very male. For the first 6 months of my life, I was in an incubation chamber, pretty much a clean box, fighting for my life because my body decided that there was something in it did not like. Little did I know what it was trying to kill off was my sister. Underneath my flesh, I have female reproductive organs. They are undeveloped and they don't produce eggs or anything like that. But at the same time, I am technically XXXY chromosome based individual. Not my whole body shares this trait, with parts of it. But hey, it's enough for me.
What parts of your body would you say share the XX and what parts share the XY? Obviously, I would say XX would be the female reproductive organ.
Yeah, the female reproductive organs. Actually, one of my thyroids is completely XX.
One of your thyroids?
Right here, you have 2 thyroid glands.
Oh, I didn't know one.
Yeah. Yep. This one is bigger than this one.
Okay, so you have one XX and one XY thyroid. No kidding.
Which is why my whole life I never got big. Gotcha. I never got big. Like, here's your standard size hairbrush. My hand's literally the same size.
Okay.
So, I never got those masculine features, really, that men are, like the big, brawny, all that. I had to work out to get muscle. If I didn't, I was just fat. I didn't develop muscle naturally.
Okay. So you have one thyroid fighting to make you female and the other one fighting to make you male, and they just kind of battled out.
Yep, my whole life. And according to the doctor, that is actually why I have had a lot of the health issues I've had, is because when your body is constantly in turmoil, constantly fighting itself, it's impossible to fight off other things.
Okay, gotcha. Like infections and...
Infection, yeah. If I get a small cut, I got to keep a really close eye on it, because if I don't, and I don't keep it clean, don't keep it, sanitary, my body actually doesn't attack it as well. And a lot of that has to do with the fact that for the first 6 months of my life, my immune system was on overdrive. trying to kill itself.
No kidding. And that's kind of how it killed off your sister.
Yeah, it pretty much. I mean, it didn't get rid of all of her. There were some parts it couldn't get rid of, but there are still, like, I have gaps in my muscle structure and stuff like that where it's different because of cellular degeneration from when I was younger.
Damn.
And the crazy thing is some people, they develop chimerism. Well, they are chimeras. They are chimeras. They don't know it. They have both. And eventually down the line, they get so sick and they end up in hospital and they have no idea why. And it's because all of a sudden something flips in them where their body no longer likes the other side.
Gotcha.
And it goes after them. And they develop almost an autoimmune disease and it rips them apart.
So everybody that has both sets of chromosomes isn't necessarily a chimera. Chimera would be both two sets developed of the whatever reproductive or...
Well, that's the whole thing. I mean, it's so new. It's so new. I know. It's so new, like this whole idea of, actually pulling into, the whole genetic side of it. Because for years, we just figured there's boy, there's girl. Of
course.
And there's nothing else. So now that we're actually working on people's like chromosomes and finding out that there are XXXY, there's XXXY, there's XXXY,
there's
XXY.
Literally, I looked it up. There was like 7 X's and 4 Y's or something. People actually have those.
Yep. And what it is it's honestly human evolution right in front of our eyes. I mean, you have to think about it. Most animal species develop their survival traits start pre-birth. I mean, it's been documented that in the wild, females, when they're pregnant, one embryo will actually consume the other if there's not enough nutrients to support both. So, in certain shark species, they do it while they're alive, like because they give live birth, and these sharks will eat their brothers and sisters in the womb.
Damn. Yeah, well, that's pretty gruesome. Woo.
Nature is gruesome.
Do you feel at all like you're like two different people, like because you absorbed your sister? So, like, would you say I'm two different people in one? That would be amazing.
So, there
did you get part of your sister's brain?
Actually, that's the only part of my body I didn't let them biopsy. Was my brain. Because there can be serious complications from a brain biopsy. Not only that, but you have to be conscious.
Oh, yeah. That wouldn't be fun at all.
And
biopsies, they take tissue or something. So they got to take tissue. They got to cut your head open and take.
Well, what they do in your skull is they actually make small drill marks through your skull, and pretty much a normal biopsy scope is a camera on a tube that has a little claw inside of it. And the claw has like a razor blade finger. And they put it in, they get where they got to go, and they snip off what they want, and they pull it back, and it goes right into a tube.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to be awake for that shit.
I've been awake for 23 of them.
But not a brain biopsy.
No, not brain biopsy. But it's the same way no matter where they do it.
Yeah. Holy crap, 23 of them? Damn. Why do you have to be awake? I know this is off topic. Why do you got to be awake?
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah. Why? Because, well, you don't have to be awake, but I mean, I have government health insurance. They're not going to sedate me.
Okay, they're not
for those. How?
They numb you.
What?
Don't they numb you though? At least.
Yeah, they do numb you. Okay. They do numb you. But I had from electrolysis, I had to have infected tissue removed from a very sensitive area, and I had to be awake for that too.
Oh, geez.
Holy
shit. Man, you went through some hell, didn't you?
Hey, it's all worth it in the end.
True. So what we know so far is okay. So that's the last question of this section. What's your sexual orientation?
I am pan. Honestly, it doesn't matter what your body is, what your gender is. That doesn't matter to me. If you have a good heart and a good soul, and we connect on a spiritual level as well as an emotional level, then there's the potential there for a lot. Like, I mean, it can be a lot. I can have a completely intimate relationship without ever having to engage in sexual intercourse. Honestly, sex isn't that important to me.
Really?
When it comes down to it, yeah, it really isn't.
You know, speaking of evolved, that sounds pretty evolved. Like that sounds like something that would be most beneficial to people.
Well, I
Because
mean,
like
it happens.
sexual attraction is just straight up like jump my bones. You know, that's the kind of traditional, but this is more like sophisticated version of it.
Yeah, see, I've never had that urge, like the urge to procreate, the urge to have sex. Me and my wife, we have 3 children because, well, we like to party every once in a while. We would go, we go out, we have fun, we come home, we have, get a little busy. But I would say throughout the course of our 15-year relationship, we maybe had sex like 30, 40 times, at most.
About twice a year.
Yeah. I mean, well, it actually was more in the beginning, we were
Okay.
very active because didn't have kids. So we were having a lot of fun and partying. And, then we had our son. And then, yeah, we were sitting right here. And then even after, he was born, his aunts would take him a lot. And, other people would take him a lot. And, we were eventually we'd be like, okay, well, let's go have some fun. And then we had our daughter. And
Sounds like fun.
our third child is funny. We were actually camping in our truck. The kids were going back and forth between us and their grandfathers because we live right next door, and we were doing a bunch of work on our home. So me and my wife were camping in our truck, and yeah, you're sleeping that close to somebody. Eventually, something happens, and we ended up with Harmony.
Wow, wow,
Third.
wow, wow.
Yeah, pretty much. But I mean, even my wife will tell you that there were definitely times where she could tell that I wasn't into it, and it would be I'd rush to get things over and done with.
Yeah.
It just I have never really been a sexual creature.
Interesting. Okay, so you are trans XXXY intersex, a woman, identify as female, she, her. You are pansexual.
Yep.
Okay, so that's all about Jess. So now let's talk about some more details about how you grew up and dealt with this. At what age did you begin to notice there was something different about you?
So when I was younger, my mom worked a lot, and she would ship me off to relatives whenever she got the chance. My one aunt, she was a real hippie, and she didn't really care what the kids did. We were pretty much allowed to just be us. And
Sounds like
I
fun.
would always, I would always steal my cousin's clothes, and I'd wear them and everything, and it was great. I loved her, and I loved it, and it was fine until. And actually, this is the funny thing. I didn't really notice there was a problem until my mom pointed it out. I was 6, and I wanted to be Rainbow Bright for Halloween. Yeah, you've heard this story like 4 or 5 times. But I wanted to be Rainbow Bright for Halloween, and my mom beat my ass in the middle of the store because she had just found God, and dragged me out by my ear, pretty much, and bought. It's like $10 pirate costumes you buy your kid last minute. Like, oh my God, I forgot. Yeah, she
The
grabbed one
gas
of those
station.
Yep, she grabbed one of those on the way out the door, and I made a joke. I'm like, she did this to me. She turned me to a butt pirate back then.
I don't think pirate was the correct one, was it? You blame
But
your mom. That's I would too.
oh no, well, I
No,
mean,
I'm kidding.
technically, you got to think it is kind of her fault. I mean, it's not her fault, but at the same time, when I was born, she knew there was something wrong.
Of course.
Everybody knew there was something wrong because I was inside an incubation chamber for a reason. But she just accepted that the doctor said, "Oh well, 6 months later, oh my God, she's all better. Let's send her home." You know, so that she just accepted that as fact and never went digging any further. And then when she found God in the Christian church, she instantly turned her back on science, medical science. I mean, I had a broken arm for over a week before she brought me to the hospital.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Oh yeah. We'll pray over it. It's just bruised. God will heal it.
Oh man. What? When did everybody find out that you had 2 sets of chromosomes?
I actually found that out when I started transitioning. Which would be around 34. Yeah, I was 34.
Oh, you didn't find out until that late?
Oh yeah, no, I didn't find out until almost a year. Like only like a year ago.
Oh. I
Yeah.
thought you had found out kind of early, like teenage years. No.
No, they don't. Okay, so the doctor she took me to, he remembers me begging him to stop my puberty, but there was nothing he could do at the time. I mean, it's the 90s, you know?
Yeah.
And after that, you know, the way he was is, and the way she was is, we didn't go to the doctor unless we were dying. You know, I mean, my mom literally did not trust doctors, did not, you know, they weren't of God. They didn't believe in God's healing, so they weren't of God. So my mom literally prevented, I mean, I had all my vaccinations, stuff like that, you know, the basics. But, you know, if it came to anything, like anything like, I just don't like this, or this doesn't feel right.
Damn.
Oh, well, that's just how God made you.
Well, you know, God made hospitals. God made doctors, right?
Okay, so if there is a God, if there is one, you would have to think that everything we're given knowledge based comes from that entity.
Exactly.
So, you know, we're given all this medical knowledge for a reason from somewhere. Okay. Now, if we're going to say there's a God, and if we're going to say we're going to follow the Bible or any religious text for that matter, God made both man and woman in their image. God's the first intersex being.
That's true. He's got something in his ribs because he gave it to Adam, or he took it from Adam, gave it to Eve.
Yeah, and that's the whole thing is like, okay, so the Bible, in order, and this is why religion's so much fun, because, you know, when somebody would die, or if they found somebody's skeleton, they noticed that a woman's skeleton was, you know, missing a bone compared to a man's, and they were like, oh, well, that the God did that.
Yeah.
When really what it is it's actually genetics so that women can carry children.
Evolution.
Yep. I mean, technically, I mean, hasn't happened yet, but if they were to be able to get a trans woman pregnant by, you know, implanting uterus and ovaries and all that stuff, they would technically have to remove that extra rib because it could interfere with the baby's development.
Extra what? The
extra rib.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. Oh, that'll happen someday. Eventually, we're going to have fully transitioned trans women who give birth. There's no doubt in my mind.
Well, actually, right now there is it's still under the kind of almost experimental side of it, where in the world, 50 separate women have had sexual organ transplants, whether it was because they were born sterile or they had to have a hysterectomy later on in life, something along those lines. Now, what's really cool about our reproductive organs is you can donate those without dying.
Oh, true. Oh, yeah.
So if you have a close enough friend and a lot of money,
$12,000
doctor. Yep. But if you have a good enough friend and enough money and a good doctor, you can have a transplant too. But there's been 50 of them so far. 17 of them have produced viable pregnancies that have survived all the way.
Really?
So, yep. So there is hope.
Oh,
I mean,
wow. So they've
not for my generation, but for the next one, hopefully.
What we do is like trans men can get reproductive organs from women who want to give up their organs and then trans men will give up their uterus and stuff and give it to a woman to trans man. That's confusing. A trans man who has a uterus and all the female stuff can give it to a trans woman, and the trans woman can give all her male parts to a trans man. That's an interesting idea. Of course, they'd have to be compatible, like blood type and whatever. But that's I can
But
see
see,
that.
that won't ever happen. You know why? Because then the way they'll say it is you're organ trafficking. Because who decides? Who decides who gets those parts? How do we decide that? I mean, I would have to think that at the beginning parts go to the highest bidder.
Well, you could choose who gets it. Like if a trans woman and a trans man just switched organs, they could choose each. Like, well, they'd have to be compatible, of course, but they could still do it.
Yeah, in that case, they could choose each other. But you know for a fact, because humanity is corrupt, it's kind of one of our trademarks, that there would be people that would instantly take advantage of it and start selling reproductive organs.
They do that with fetal tissue sometimes.
Yeah, well, actually, Planned Parenthood, one of the reasons that it pisses me off so much that they're doing all this anti-abortion work is what most people don't realize is a lot of the cures we have right now are from stem cells from abortions. We've been able to research the human genome, the human cell, before it develops to anything.
Right.
So we've been able to figure out cures for things because we can get it at its purest form.
Yeah. And I don't think they dive into that as much as they should. I mean, I get the whole like it's part of a baby or so. I mean, I get that. I'm not trying to attack anybody's, but if you can use stem cells to cure cancer for living, breathing people with thoughts and minds, what the hell are we doing here?
If we put people to death for killing people,
yeah,
we are okay with euthanizing animals. We're okay with hunting. We're okay with raising animals for livestock, slaughtered by the hundreds and served up nice and hot and fresh to your plate. That's all fine.
Yeah,
you know,
but
human beings,
a zygote, this this big, it's not even that big, has it's I don't know.
Yeah,
that's like a
human beings have no problem. Human beings have no problem killing things on mass scales until it comes to control. As soon as somebody is asking to control their own fate, asking to control their own body, and no longer cares about the consequences of that action, like, listen, this is what I want. Now there's a problem, especially when it comes to women. In this country, and actually all over the world, and you see it in religion a lot, women are to blame for everything. Literally everything. We are for people Eve with first sin. The woman asked for the head of John. A woman asked for the head of John the Baptist. Ruth puts a spike through Sisera's skull in to kill him in the Bible. Women do horrible things all throughout religion. It's all our fault.
That's probably why they stoned him to death in Iran.
Well, I mean, and that's the thing. Like the Christian church, with these countries, like, oh no, look what they're doing to these women. And it's like, do you guys forget the witch trials you conducted all throughout the world?
Yeah.
Where women of science, women who are using herbs and stuff like that to heal people, were dragged out of their homes, accused of witchcraft and fornicating with the devil, and then burned at the stake. Like what the heck is wrong?
Part of misogyny I never even thought about. Were men ever burned for being witches?
Most men didn't get burned. It was other ways they killed them.
Oh, so the women got the worst part of it.
Yeah, the very few examples we see of male witches being executed actually happens in Salem, where one is crushed to death. And some of Joan of Arc's military that stayed with her were accused of witchcraft too, and they were executed by beheading. But she was burned.
Yeah, she was. She got. That's a horrible, horrible way to die.
But you think if the Pope comes to you and says, God spoke to me and told me this, everybody believes his ass. A woman comes and says it, she's got to be talking to the devil.
True. Yeah. Damn. It's a good point. All right. At what age did you finally realize you were a woman?
So I'd have to say age 10.
Okay.
Up until that point, I was sent to I knew I was different. I knew I was wrong ever since age 6. But at age 10, I realized that the girls sat at this table and the guys sat at that table. And I really wanted to sit over there, but I was being forced to sit over here. So eventually it just boiled over. And for my 10th birthday, I asked my mom for a sex change.
Oh my God.
And
Really?
yep, that's what
Was
led
this
me to get.
before or after her like religious?
Oh, this is after, and this was how I got sent to boarding school.
Oh,
Um,
damn.
yep,
Tell us
up and
about that. That's one of the questions. Is your would have your parents or any other influence try to force you to be normal? Have they ever tried to force you to be normal?
yep, my mom. Well, here, I mean, we'll just start at the beginning. At age 6, after the whole Rainbow Bright episode, I went to a camp in upstate New York.
At 6?
That's 6. That was they were there to help good little boys and girls of the church straighten out their lives.
That's
Um,
really messed up.
yeah, I mean, but it went from, I mean, it wasn't just about being straight. It was kids that swore, kids that fought, kids, anything that the church was against. They would send you to almost like this rehabilitation, re-education camp. And they were affiliated with a lot of churches all around the country. So then after I aged out of there, she sent me to a different one. But at that camp, I was actually raped for 3 years every summer by the swimming instructor, who was the son of one of the head founders of the camp. He had been a camper himself and had been converted to being straight, which shows that it doesn't work. like it doesn't work. It just does worse things.
You were
But then,
a boy at the time, like
yeah, yeah,
physically.
yeah. I was totally physically male on the outside at the time,
Did you
and
did you tell anybody?
well, my friend Kenny actually is the one who blew the whistle, but it wasn't until many years later. And yeah, it was bad. It was really bad.
Is there
But
a reason why you didn't tell anybody? Were you just ashamed or felt like it
well,
was?
at that point, everybody stops listening to you. I mean, I think when everybody thinks you're the problem child, when everybody thinks you're an issue, what's wrong with you is what's wrong with the world. And I mean, my mom's religion's very insane to the point that they believe that every sin is caused by a demon.
Yeah.
So in other words, you're allowing a demon in your life. So pretty much I'm
Heard that
possessing this body,
before.
you know? But yeah, no, at age 10, after I asked for a sex change and my mom said no, and she talked to her pastor and the pastor started making really strict regulations about what I could and couldn't do at school. And because I mean, I was at a private school.
Okay.
I was at a school run by the church. And yes, they didn't teach science, by the way. I mean, they taught like photosynthesis and the basis, basic science, but dinosaurs walked right alongside with man. Oh,
Yeah.
yes, they did.
Even though carbon
Just like the
date
world.
says
Yeah,
otherwise.
scientific evidence and carbon dating states
Carbon
otherwise.
dating's the devil. That's what it is.
Yeah, yeah, no. Carbon dating just shows that they're stupid. But I'm sorry. I don't believe anybody is truly evil in their heart. But when you let words from thousands of years ago tell you how to live your life, that's stupid.
Yeah. Pretty.
I mean, we don't
Not very
even have
practical.
we don't even have some of the same species on this planet as we did, 100 years ago.
Yeah. Half of them
So you're
died.
gonna, yeah. I mean, we'll have them. We killed.
Yeah, we did.
No, and I mean, and that's another thing. Like, we as human beings are the most advanced life form on the planet. There's nothing advanced about us. We are literally just apes with big brains, and
Yeah.
we have thumbs.
Yeah.
You know, eventually, I mean, when we will become truly advanced, is when I can look at you and you can look at me, and I can go, yeah, no, we're all good. I know that you're a person, I'm a person, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
You know, I have people that I know that have done horrible, horrible things. But because they're people, and they always will be people in my eyes, I know that everybody makes mistakes. And as long as you always try to live your life better than you did the day before, I'm willing to give you a chance.
That's a good philosophy.
And I mean, that's why even though all these horrible things happened to me when I was younger, I don't hold any ill will against these people.
Yeah.
I have no animosity.
I think when you hold that animosity, it hurts you more than it hurts anybody else.
Yep, exactly. But I mean, but yeah, at age 10, when I asked for a sex change, the pastor got really nasty and I started getting disciplined more and more. And then one of the deacon's daughters said some really messed up shit to me about not being a girl. And I said, "Oh, well, if it's my appearance that's different, well, I can always fix that by taking yours." And that's putting it nicely of what I said, but at the same time,
you could say you're gonna cut up her tits or something.
No, I said I was gonna skin her. Yeah.
Well, that's a little bit across the line. I can see why you got disciplined for that one.
You gotta think, okay? Yeah. I went to Christian school where they didn't sugarcoat the Bible. Okay? So I was already exposed to some of the most graphic violence even before I was able to really watch TV and listen to good music.
Oh yeah, Jesus crucifixion is about the most violent thing.
Yeah. What about Job? Job has his flesh rotting off his body in the middle of the field, crying, rubbing ashes all over him to try to calm the itching. Like, are you kidding me? Like, I mean, the descriptions in the Bible are horrific.
Yet Disney can't show two male characters kissing. But if they made a video of Job rotting and dying in a field, that would be okay, right?
Yep.
Pretty critical.
But what's funny is actually Disney beat him to the punch because Milan, come on, cross-dressing warrior, gotta love her.
I've never seen it.
Really? Oh my god, Milan's like one of my favorite movies.
I'll have to watch it. I didn't know she was a cross-dressing warrior. Well, so yeah, that's the whole Disney's a bunch of groomer shit. No, Disney's just being nice to people. That's what they're doing. They might they might not be nice to their workers, but at least they're nice to kids.
Well, I mean, we all know that the small world ride is all a bunch of illegal immigrant children just waving.
Oh god. Yeah, I thought Trump got rid of them. What happened?
Oh. Well, Trump has investment in Disney World.
He what?
No, he doesn't really. I don't know, but he might.
Hey, Trump had illegal immigrants at all of his golf courses, so fucking
there's seriously, and even the rich people that claim to be liberal, they're only liberal because it makes them look good.
Yeah.
If you look at their money and how they handle it, if it wasn't for the publicity and people looking at them differently, they would be Republican all the way.
Oh yeah. I think sometimes they just use, like, I kind of agree with the right where Joe Biden picked Kamala Harris because she's Indian and black, and then he said out loud, he's like, I'm going to pick a black woman to do this and that. And, I can get that it's good for the black community to get those positions, but isn't that just pandering?
Trying to buy that vote.
If he had just picked a black woman for Supreme Court and just not said anything, I'd be like, okay, that's great. But he's made a point. Hey, everybody, I'm picking a black woman. I'm progressive. Well, what are you going to do about drug prices in America? Well, nothing. He hasn't done a damn thing about drug prices or inflation or anything. He sucks.
That's because they appointed a trans woman for the head of Department of Health, Government Health. She doesn't know what the fuck she's doing. Are you kidding me? She's completely clueless. There's nobody home. Like, how do you forget your own community that quickly?
She's trans, so what does it matter?
It matters a lot. Honestly, I can't stand that. Like,
no, that was sarcastic. I was being sarcastic.
Yeah. But no, I'm saying, like, when people look at me and they go, well, she's trans, why don't you support her? Just because she's trans doesn't mean I agree with what she's doing.
Yeah, true.
I mean, that's the whole thing about...
Pete Buttigieg, never liked him. What a little shit he is. But he's gay, so I have to like him because I'm part of the community. Fuck that.
No.
Excuse my language, kids. You didn't hear that.
Yeah, I just realized I said one of those too, but
Who cares?
yeah, no. The way I look at it is like, just because somebody like that's like saying everybody that's white I have to be cool with because I'm white too.
Exactly. Or it's like
I'm sorry,
to be progressive, you have to agree with all black people. Like you have to love. There are black people. Oh, what am I going to agree with O.J. Simpson? You know.
Yeah, O.J. Simpson was set up.
What? Okay, that's a
No.
different conversation. What do you mean by that? The bloody glove?
Well, no, I mean, honestly, think about it. I think he might have like threatened to kill his wife, but I guarantee you somebody got a hold of that and was like, all right, I know how to get rid of OJ.
Who would do that? I don't know. I think he did it. He's
See, I believe I'm one of those true believers in innocent until proven guilty. So
well, he wasn't proven guilty, so he's innocent.
exactly.
But
I mean, because if it wasn't innocent until proven guilty, I'd be screwed.
you know, one black person in Congress that I love, or I think she's in the House, is Maxine Waters. I don't agree with her politics all the time, but she's hilarious.
Mm-hmm. And that's the thing, like, just because you don't agree with somebody all the time doesn't mean you don't support them.
Yeah.
You know, like I don't agree with Republicans all the time, and I don't agree with Democrats all the time, which is why I'm an independent. And people look at me and they go, "Oh, that's worse than a liberal." I'm like, why? Because I have a mind, because I think, because I don't make my decisions on party bias. I actually think about who I'm going to vote for.
Is that if we don't vote for whatever Democrat they throw at us, we get Trump. And that's what they're basing it on. That's what they're betting on.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Like,
but what are you going to do? You're going to vote for Trump? I mean, you can't vote for Trump. You got to, and it's not even about politics or anything. It's just Trump is a disgusting con artist criminal. That's the only reason why I don't.
Honestly, the only elections I vote in are local ones.
Okay.
Because the big government ones, it doesn't matter. The whole point of the electoral college is to take the power away from the citizens. We vote for representatives who then vote for us.
True.
I mean, just because I voted Democrat, just because I voted Republican, doesn't mean that person that I actually put in power to make that decision for me will actually do what I want them to do.
Yeah, they lie all the time. Oh gosh, I can't tell you how many times they said they're gonna lower drug prices, and I just got off the video chat with a trans woman who needs her estrogen or she's gonna die, and it's $600 a month, and she can't afford it. So, that's a different story. That just pisses me off so much. Anyway, we're going about. Oh shit, we're about to hit 40 minutes.
Right.
We'll definitely talk after this. I could talk to you all night. Have you ever tried to resist your identity? And
what happened?
And have you ever pretended to be what others think is normal? Have you ever tried to resist who you are?
Yeah, all my life. There's even times now where I catch myself like just being me and being happy and then having a double take, like, hold on. Oh yeah, no, it's cool. I'm a girl.
Yeah.
Like, but I mean, yeah, it's just, I mean, it's.
What do you mean? What's double take mean? Double take means that you're nervous around people, and you.
Well, no. So okay, let's say like I'm in a situation where I like walk by a really pretty dress or something in a store, and I'll sit there and like stare at it for a minute and be like, "Ooh, I really want that." And then I'll have to look at myself twice and be like, "Oh wait, no, it's okay. I can do this now because I'm living my actual life." But
and
before,
that's from like being in camps for 20 years.
Look at this, right? So I tell everybody this when they meet me after a while. If you had met me 3 years ago, we wouldn't be friends. you would have literally hated the person I was. I was angry. I would use racial terms and anti-gay terms to keep people away from me. I would make fun of everybody and anybody because if I was making fun of you, you wouldn't even try to talk to me. And it was to keep everybody at arm's length. Because every time I let somebody get close, I'd slip. Even my own family were scared of me. If I was sleeping, you let me sleep. If I was playing PlayStation, you didn't interrupt me. I literally kept everybody at arm's reach. My children call me mom now and hug me and are happy to see me. I haven't played a video game in over a year. I eat healthy. My kids eat healthy. We all take care of each other now.
Did you have a point where like you weren't close to your kids at all?
My son hated me. And he'll even tell you that I was a shit father, but I'm one of the best moms he's ever known.
Interesting.
My daughters, the first time they got to meet me, I did their hair and I did their nails and I had fun with them all night long. We had laughs and laughs. And then my wife came home and I went back in the closet to hide and they were kind of looking at me all confused. Like, where'd you go?
And they were how old?
My youngest doesn't even like remember, but my middle child, she remembers when she was like, 5, doing stuff like that. Where I'd be braiding her hair and doing her nails, and then I get that call, hey, I'm on my way home, and I pull out her braid real quick and wipe off her nails. And
oh my gosh,
yeah, the things we do to hide is ridiculous, but
it is. I hid for like my whole teenage years, never really said anything, and then I just came out. I was like, fuck it, if you don't like me, then don't like me. It's not, and I didn't get a whole lot of backlash, but
at the same time, saying that you like the same sex is way different than saying you're going to turn to the opposite.
Yeah, that's like, well, like 20 years ago, being gay was like, I don't think it's as bad as being trans now.
You would have been right. You would have been right in the funny farm with us.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, that's what people don't realize when they sit there and they go, "Oh, we have it so bad. We have it so bad." 50 years ago, trans people were locked in mental institutions and doped up on Haldol so they didn't kill each other or kill ourselves. 100 years ago, gay people were right along there with us.
Yeah.
Along with women who didn't listen to their husbands, people that didn't agree with society, people that spoke out against the church. We as a society aren't as progressive as we think. And it's more
not in America.
No, it's more of just we want to believe we are these good people. We want to believe that, oh no, this can never happen. Well, guess what? Your grandparents were just as big of bigots as all the other people you hate. Because unfortunately, back then, that's just how people were.
Yeah.
And that's the crappy thing.
Half of my family is racist, the other half is progressive.
And that's how I ended up being how I was. Is my family are a bunch of racist assholes who hate everybody who's different. Yeah. So I said, okay, well, if that's how I'm going to be raised, that's what I'm going to be raised around, that's what I'm going to end up doing. Well, fine. Then I'll copy this and make this who I am. That way, nobody sees the real me.
Yeah.
But as it stands right now, the only people that talk to me that I knew prior to transitioning are my wife and children.
Really?
The rest of my family, my mom talks to me only simply because of my kids. I won't answer my dad's phone calls because of what he did. The rest of my family just kind of ignores. I forgot the fact I even exist.
Well, that comes to the next question. What's the hardest moment you had accepting who you really are? And this can include people that messed with you, or because you mentioned your dad. I can understand that.
Actually, all that stuff was easy compared to accepting and coming to terms with who I was. When the pandemic hit, we all got locked down. I found TikTok and I started watching a lot of TikTok. And what I noticed is most of the things I liked came from trans people and gay people and people from the community.
We're awesome.
And then I don't know what happened, but I started getting flashbacks of things that I had suppressed. And I remembered this whole other side of me that I had forced myself to pretty much forget. When I was 16, I was a cheerleader. I wore bell bottoms and thongs at school. And I mean, at late 90s, early 2000s, that's
Yeah,
some bold
yeah.
crap to be doing,
You know,
and
like the '90s was not that long ago, and it was. I remember gay pride parades where people would throw stuff at him, and horrible,
they still
horrible
do.
things. They do, and
There
it's gonna
are,
get worse if we don't stop it. But
well,
I like to think that
the
we're
only
a little
way we
bit
can stop
now.
it,
We're,
the only way we can stop it is rise above it. We have to not gratify these people with a response. That's what they want.
yeah, true. They want to see that fear in you. That's what they want.
Or
They
anger.
see you or anger. Yeah,
Because think about it. If they can get you to get angry, if they can get you to lose your temper, and you end up on camera, yelling and screaming and acting like a fool, well, guess what? They just got validated because
yep,
obviously you're not stable enough to be around society. It's really what it is. They do it intentionally because they know it hurts us so bad emotionally. It hurts us to be told we're not human, we're not normal, we're not equal because of who we love or because of how we are. They don't care about their religion. They don't care about how you feel, how I feel. All they care about is keeping America white and keeping America great. And I'm not even saying that as in white as in black white people. I'm saying white as in no sin, no tarnish, no none of it. None of it. They want us to be how we were back in the freaking 20s when everybody went to church on Sunday. Mommy knew daddy was cheating but kept her fucking mouth shut about it. I mean, like, that's what they want. They don't care about our happiness. They don't care about whether who I am or what I am. They don't care about anybody except their own control over society. And that's what it boils down to. They just use God instead of politics to do it.
yeah. Well, as long as they say you're God made man and woman, then none of us are safe.
Well, I mean, but think about it.
Well, if God made man and woman, how can people be born with a vagina and penis fused together? I mean, come on, that doesn't even. Well, it's rare. It doesn't happen. That who cares how rare it is? If God made
It's actually
man
not.
and woman, how can somebody be like intersex? How could you possibly have two sets of chromosomes? I mean, that doesn't make sense, you know?
It's actually not as rare as you may think.
Well, it isn't. Actually, that's what they say. It happens 0.000. No, it happens like about 1%. I'd say about 5 to 10% of the population is LGBTQ, intersex, or asex altogether. So that's a chunk of the population. So, the whole argument's bullshit.
Well, and you also have to think how many weren't reported till recently.
That's
Because
true.
I know a couple people who they were born with both, and their parents made that decision for them.
They make the wrong one.
Usually, and honestly, so this is what it is. We're all essentially big teenagers. Even the most grown up versions of us. When somebody tells you that you're not allowed to do something, it makes you want to do it more.
Yeah, it's true.
So
That's
if these
me,
people,
definitely.
if these people would just stop with all their bigot hatred and all this, then people would stop coming out and being like, "Ha!"
Yeah,
I mean, I think if they didn't tell us that what we were was wrong, do you think we'd have such a need to shove it down their throats come Pride?
that's true. It's kind of like the opposite. They want to throw their religion at us and make society their way, and we're like, "F you, I'm coming out.
Yep.
Deal with it."
Well,
It's like trying to hurt them a little. I don't know about hurting, but try to make them look stupid. Is
yeah.
kind of like what I
Well,
like to
I mean,
do.
think about it.
It's
They
not
say,
grown up of me, but I like to make people look stupid sometimes.
but you think about it, they say a Christian society was a safe society. Um, I don't know anyone that freaking would believe that God would want you to go and murder innocent people because it's holy land.
Yeah.
Or how about George W. Bush and his, oh, well, I'm gonna fight God's war and go over there and kill those Muslims. Yeah, no, you're not fighting God's war. You're going to steal freaking oil.
Yep.
We're
That's what
not
Burton
stupid.
was. I still
Yep.
don't know how Dick Cheney's not in prison.
Easy. He has millions and millions and millions of dollars. I mean, come on. We see these people that are, have so much money, so much influence, so much power. They commit crimes that me and you would catch a decade for.
Oh yeah.
And what do they get? What do they get? 5 months house arrest and probation.
Sometimes they get money. Well,
And
all
think about
they
this.
get money, but
Think about this. If you're rich and you get put under house arrest, you have a
yeah.
mansion.
What is that gonna do?
Exactly. It does nothing.
If you live in a trailer and you get put house arrest, that's like jail.
It's horrible.
All right, these are the last two questions. What message would you like to give to the people who say that you chose this lifestyle, who say you're morally wrong, that if you wanted to, you could change it, you're mentally ill, and you need mental health? What would you say to those people?
Oh, I'm fucking batshit crazy. Sorry about the swear, but yeah, I tell them
Well,
that
that's
there's
you're
nothing.
batshit crazy in a different way.
But I tell them, I'm like, there's nothing I could do about who I am. Trust me, I've tried. I can show you evidence of that try. You know, so as the only choice I made here was to come out and not kill myself because that's where I was at. Because it hurts so much to deny who I was. And then, as far as like a lifestyle choice, I mean, of course, there's always this choice in lifestyle, but being a woman or a man, that's not a choice.
Exactly.
Now I could choose to go put on assless chaps and go dance in the street and make a fool of myself, like we see at Pride, but I don't because I remember something that a lot of I think people have forgotten. Being a woman is about being elegant, being something that you carry yourself differently than men do. Men, they're supposed to be the cruder of society, you know? And the way I look at it is if you want people to respect you, you have to respect yourself first. So how are people going to respect us when we have people out there doing stuff that you see on Pride? You have people out there that are fucking in the street and it's like, whoa, 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 whoa. You guys want people to say that this is a good thing. There's a 12-year-old kid right there.
Yeah. I've seen that in New Orleans.
Mm-hmm. But
Southern
usually it's at
Baptist.
Mardi Gras, and it's expected.
Yeah. I've seen some stories. I definitely. You don't even want to hear them. Not even you would want to hear them.
Oh yeah, I would.
Okay, I'll tell you later. It's not appropriate for this audience. What message would you like to give to all the kids and adults who are still struggling with their identity and orientation?
Okay, so being you're a member of my group, you know how I am. I tell everybody there's no right or wrong way to be trans. If you're transgender, if you feel this inside, go at your own pace. Do what makes you happy. Don't let anybody tell you you're not moving fast enough or you're not doing it right. Because who's to say there's a right or wrong way? There's no guidebook for this. There's no guidebook to life. Love yourself. Other people will follow. You will lose people. Don't get me wrong. But the people you find because of this journey, because of who you are, you won't give them up for the world. I have sisters, brothers, more now than ever before. I have people that I've never met that would drop everything and come to my aid in a heartbeat if I asked. I know people. I've been in more childbirths now and weddings via the internet and stuff than I ever was before.
The
Because
internet.
people just want me to be part of their lives, part of their families. And what I would have to say is, if you're a parent of a trans kid, know your child is just as normal as everyone else. There's nothing wrong with them. Love them. Love them so much, because they have an uphill battle. Even in a completely accepting society, they're fighting a war with inside themselves every single day. We all are. Every trans person is. And if you feel like that, if you feel this urge, I want you to know there is help out there. There are people that give a shit and that care and are more than happy to open up their heart and arms to you. I'm one of them. I've spent nights sitting here fighting to keep people in this world, because I've been to too many funerals. I refuse to go to another one if I can help it.
All right. Damn, that was a good one. All right, everybody, this is Jessica Lasher. We hope you enjoyed this program, and we will see you later. Bye, Jessica. I'm going to talk to you in a sec.
Yeah. Bye, everybody.